एकता में ताकत, एकता में शक्ति. In India, we say ekta mein takat, unity is strength and unity is power. When any individual or device work independently, it is a single entity. But when it is connected or joined together to share their resources in network, we say it is not just 1 plus 1 equal to 2, it is more than 2. Like human beings who have the inherent qualities of joining together for sharing their feeling emotions, the same technique is introduced to computers so that computers can be connected and the resource can be shared. Since computer cannot move like human being, how this network is possible among computers? That is the topic of today. We will be discussing the networking technique, which include data transmission over network by the way of switching technologies such as circuit switching, packet switching, and cell switching, and the devices and media used in network for establishing the network, as well as the other way and means of connecting the computers. We call it as network topology, and the other devices used, media used, cable used in network will be discussed today in this module. We will start with the theoretical part of data transmission, that is switching technique, which involves circuit-based, packet-based and cell-based switching. Then we will discuss about network media, the media for communicating the data from one point to other. The media can be cables, the media can be even light, the media can even be in air where wireless works. All the devices on this media will be discussed, and as possible we will try to show some of the products and cables as part of this module. Then how network is connected, that common topologies used such as bus, ring, star and mesh network topologies used for connecting the computers over network. Then the essential devices which are required, like network interface card, hub, switch, router, modem and gateways, and where exactly these devices are used. To start with, what is a network? As I mentioned, network is interconnection of computer for sharing the resources with high reliability and speed without the loss of transmission data. The resource which I mentioned here for sharing can be hardware, data or information, and computer connects each other with various media. It could be guided media or unguided media. The cable comes in the guided media, where we generally see the network in our local environment in our organization, which is called local area network, that is Ethernet. And the air is used like microwave signals, radio frequency, even in the small range Bluetooth, and satellites are used for high frequency for transmission of data between earth, one place to other place in the nation, and the various network devices used. So network is nothing but connection of computer with network devices for sharing the information and data. So to start with switching technique, the switching technique is transmission of data across network. Like human being, we share the emotion and feeling, but in network it is possible only to share the signals through cable or the media which I mentioned. These signals will be taken as zeros and one for representing data. So this is transmitted from one place to other. So the switching technique tells about how the signals or data packets travel from one point to other point. And there are three types of switching techniques. The first one, which is the oldest one, is the circuit switching, which is used in our telephone. You can recall that to talk with another person in a wired telephone network, we need to establish a circuit between the two users till the telephone is used. After circuit switching, we will discuss about packet switching, where the possibility of using a continuous circuit is not possible, where the data will be fragmented into various packets and sent across the network. And finally, if anything is possible to combine these two to get high reliability and speed, one of the technique is that cell switching. And these are the three switching technique used in network: circuit switching, packet switching, and cell switching. About circuit switching, this established a dedicated communication channel circuit, and this is physically connected between two endpoints as an electrical circuit. That's why it is called circuit switching. So the advantages of circuit switching: fixed bandwidth, that is the guaranteed capacity; low variance in latency, because it is almost constant on the dedicated channel, and this can be used for video and audio transmission. Disadvantages: extra overhead and delay because of setup and tear down between 2 points, which cause waste of resources when low utilization on the network, and this also gives a low scalability in circuit switching. Next one is packet switching. All transmitted data fragmented as blocks called packets. These packets are sent across network with number. For example, if I want to send my photograph from my computer to somebody, the photograph itself will fragmented, split as small data container. That small data blocks are called packets, and this packet will be then numbered. If the photograph is split into 10 number and it is numbered from number 1 to 10, all these packets are sent across the network and it will get reassembled on arrival of all packets. And in this scenario, the 10th packet may reach before the first packet. And if there is any lost packet, that lost packets are requested again, and sets up a limited number of dedicated connection in this packet switching of constant bit rate and constant delay between the nodes. This can be done based on traffic, and the delay will increase. So this generally established on connectionless or connection oriented. Like in connection less, it is called datagram switching, and connection oriented examples are frame relay, multi-protocol label switching, which is used by the telecom companies like MPLS network, TCP, etc. In connectionless, it is IP, UDP, Ethernet, etc. And as you see in the packet switching, the packet is transmitted over the network, and it can travel or take any path to reach the destination. And the advantage: efficient resource usage, no setup is required like in circuit switching, and it is flexible because even if one channel is down, it can find out another path. And the disadvantage: no guarantee in delay and bandwidth. The quality of service is questionable in packet switching. And the final one is that cell switching. You need to establish circuit, but the packet should not be very huge in size. So such techniques, fixed packets are designed or defined before sending the packets. So such fixed packets are called cell. That's why it is called cell switching. And this is used in ISDN, ATM, etc. In ATM, 53 byte packets, that is 48 for data and 5 byte for the header, is used for transmission, and the same technique is also used in DSL, ISDN, and there is no flow control on this, no error control on it, and cell switching can handle multiple data types. That's why ISDN lines are powerful in voice, video and data communication. And the cell switching combine the best of circuit switching for guaranteed delivery and the packet switching, that is efficiency. We have seen how data is switched or packets are switched from one network or one computer to other computer. Now, if we want to connect networks, if we want to connect computers over a network, how do we connect this computer? That is what is called topology, network topology. So, topology of a network refers to the configuration of cables, computers and other peripherals. How the cable is connected and how the peripherals are connected refer to the network topology. And there are 4 topologies by which we can connect computers in a network. The first and foremost is the bus topology. The bus stands for a wire. So, bus means we can connect as seen in the picture from one computer to other in a bus mode. That means all the computer will be connected to a common bus, and the disadvantage is that if any system which is an intermediary system which fails, then the complete network fails. So, bus is not a very sophisticated technology in network. The second one is called ring topology. This forms like a ring and connect, and the redundancy can be maintained by using 2 rings. So, even if one system fails, it can get connected to the other ring and the network can be established. The National Knowledge Network generally use this kind of ring topology to connect the academic institution with the redundancy. And the third one is called star topology. There will be a centralized sender network device. All computers will be connected to this device. Such a device, generally it is called hub or switch. In this scenario, we have to only plug a computer or network device to this central network device, and it looks like a star. That is why it is called star topology. And we can combine all this technology together and we get mesh topology. So, we have discussed about the various 4 network topologies here. Now, what are the cables used for connecting the computers? Since we defined the topology, now computer has to be physically connected. And how do we connect? Generally, the easiest method is to connect by using a cable. But the difficulty that we cannot connect 2 computers directly with a single cable. The reason is that the cable use one single line for transmission and another line for receive. So, when we are using a cable, the receive and the sender line both will become same between computers. So, what we require is this has to be somewhere twisted. That is why we need to use an intermediate device in network, and so all computers can connect to this device. So, such intermediate devices are called hub or switch. So, between computer and switch, how do we connect? We use cable. And here I have to mention that between computer also we can connect it, but we have to make such a way that the cable, the sender cable and receiver cable should be twisted in one end. That is what is called cross cable. So, in such a way we can connect 2 devices or computers. But here I will be talking about the cables and connector. So, I will take you to some of the products to explain the concept of this cable as well as connectors. We have discussed about the topologies by which we can connect or design the computer network like a bus, star, ring topology, etc. Now the question is how we are going to physically connect it. From computer we have to connect to a network device. So what is required is the first thing is cable to connect between these devices. So cables and connectors will be discussed now. There are various kinds of cable used. In olden times, computers were used to connect by using that BNC connectors, which is similar to our cable TV, channel TV cables and connectors. Now, sophisticated network cables have arrived and we are using like Cat5, Cat6, Cat7 kind of cables. So, I will be showing you some of the cables and connectors and the other device, network device, which is used for forming the network. Let me start with the cable which you know, that is the telephone cable. The cable, this is having a cable plus a connector. So, this connector is called RJ11 connector and this is a simple cable, but in computer this cable is not used. Instead of that, we are using a cable called Cat5 cable very commonly, and which has a connector. This connector is called RJ45 connector, and the network cables generally comes in twisted pair. The reason for using twisted pair is that if I am using two cable and directly if it is going, there is something called electromagnetic effect on the cable. So, this will create an electromagnetic interferences between the cable and that may cause loss of data. To avoid that, any cable you will see that it is in twisted in nature. So, I am using a twisted pair cable, that is TP, and there are, if you look at this point, there are 8 cables in pair, 4 cables in pair, which gives 8 pair with a different, and these are the cables used for connecting to computer which is having a connector at the end, and this is for class purpose I am showing this cable, but in practical life what you see is a cable which will be having RJ45 connectors in both ends. So, this is a crimpled, factory crimpled network cable which is used for connecting, and this cable is called Cat6 cable. The cable I showed you earlier, the small cable, that is this one, which is Cat5 cable, and this is little more advanced than that, which is called Cat6, and this cable is now very popularly used in all network wherever you plan for the local area network. Now, the latest entry in this category is the Cat7 cable. The Cat7, as you see here, it is twisted via 4 lines, but this also have a kind of shielding, foils shielding on this. So, this I will tell that this is shielded, foil shielded twisted pair cable. So, generally all network cables are called UTP cables, shielded twisted pair cables, Cat5, Cat6 and Cat7. Here it is even foiled the latest one, so that we do not lose any signal, and this Cat7 gives 1 gigabit speed on the network. So, in infinite center where this kind of Cat7 based cablings are used, and connector is almost similar like what you have seen in this, and this is what is the RJ45 connector used in Cat6. So, these connectors are generally crimpled into the wire by using this crimping tool. So, I put it here, then according to the color pattern I put the wire here inside this, then I crimp it, and both way I crimp and I get the network cable. Once I make the cable, this cable can go into the network device. So this is a network interface card which you can see in your PCs or laptop, where this will be inserted, this cable will be inserted. So this will be fixed in the motherboard itself in the PC. So I have taken it out to show it. This is what is called network interface card. Without this card, we cannot connect a computer. So we need to ask for a network interface card. On 90-95% time, this card will be inbuilt with the system, and where we can put this cable for connecting. If one end is connected here, the other end will connect to the networking devices. So here is a simple device. This is what is called hub, where one end of the cable will go here like this. This will go and connect here, one cable, and the other end will go to the network point. Similarly, I will connect this is 8-port hub, where I can connect 8 PCs, and I get a simple network in my office or home. So this is hub and cable and the connector. These are the common devices and cable or media used for connecting the networks or computers. Now here I would like to mention that the classification of the cables are done by some international standard, that is depending on the frequency used in the cable, that is how many megahertz, how many kilohertz a cable can carry. Depending upon that, categories of cable are there. That is what I was using, Cat 5, Cat 6, Cat 7. This Cat stands for category. So we commonly used one was Cat 5E, and the other one is Cat 6, which have 250 megahertz, Cat 5 have 100 megahertz, and the latest, that is classification of class F, that is Cat 7, which use 600 to 1000 megahertz, and Cat 7A, that is this cable, Cat 7A. So this is the latest, which can carry gigabits on this. All these are twisted copper wires. That is all about the wires and cabling used in our local area network. Now if we want advanced in a network, instead of using a hub is a connecting device which broadcasts the packet. Broadcasting means any packet comes, it is sent to all computers where it is connected. Instead of that, we can also use a switch, where the device will understand where the packet should go. So here is a switch. This is a switch which we call it as layer 2. I will not go more technical details now, because this module is layer 1, layer 2, etc. will be covered later. But this is a switch where you can see 8 plus 8 plus 8. So 24 ports are there. This switch used, and which can be connected, as well as a power can be given to the switch. Now I would like to show you one of the latest switch which does not require power. This is called power on Ethernet, PoE switch, PoE enabled. So this is a PoE switch, latest category, where even a cable goes into here, this can take power from that. So separate power point is not required. This is a advanced layer 2 switch, where you will see fiber port, and if each this point, this fiber can carry 10 gigabit speed. So if I have this kind of switches in our local area network, I can assure and bandwidth 10 Gbps for the user. And in addition to that, there are other devices used. Like a network, you can see this is a cable tester. If I crimp a table by using the crimping device, whether it is connected properly or not, so I can use a cable tester and connect. As you can see, the light is going. So this is a cable tester where the light is showing, and if all lines are correct, light will glow everywhere. If anything is wrong, it will show the number. So that out of 8 pair, 1 pair is gone wrong, and this cable cannot be used. So this is a cable tester used in networking. So what I have discussed right now about is the cable use and the connector use and the testing devices and the various category of cables. So in an organization, these cables are used for establishing local area network. But if you want to make a strong backbone, we need to use fiber kind of cable. I have a fiber cable here to show you that. The fiber means light is used as the media. So we won't be able to see any cable on that. These are all jacket. The light will pass through the narrow hole, which is almost similar to the hair where light is passed. So these kind of cables are used, fiber, which gives very high bandwidth on the wire. And fiber cables are also in different shape. A single mode and multi-mode fibers are used on that. So this is used for long distance transmission. When we connect a national wide network like NKN, you will see that the backbone network is on fiber, and we are having this kind of a single mode fiber coming from the ISP directly to our sender, and it is connected. So this is another cable used. Then there are cables like one end is, if you want to have a serial connector, this is a serial connector so console. Any device is to be connected in a console mode. You have this RS232 connector, that is the serial connector, and the other side is normal network RJ45. So this can be connected. So this is a serial cable. In addition to the network cables, there are video cables, video connectors available. Suppose if you want to connect a video equipment, we use a VGA cable. This is like a screen we can use to connect. This is a VGA cable which can be connected here, and if you are in video conferencing mode, and RCA connectors are here, so that we can connect this RCA cable into this, and this is HDMI, high definition cables. But these are not in network, these are used for video and video conferencing, so I will not discuss much about this. And another stacking cable is there. This is a stacking cable. I have shown you one switch, layer 2 switch, which if between two switches if I want to connect it, generally this kind of stacking cables are used. So these are about the cables which are used in networking. All these cables which are used carry signals, but in fiber, as I mentioned, it is using light as the media. So here the classification is done based on the core and bandwidth. Core is that between this, what is the thickness of this wire, that is a core, and the bandwidth available. So we have OM1, OM2, OM3 and OM4 kind of cables in fiber, that is multi-mode fiber. We have these categories of this. As you can see from the slide, there is a core, then cladding and outer jacket. What we see, this yellow color is only the outer jacket. The light pass through this and it is communicated. In single mode, the classification is based on the attenuation. So OS1 and OS2, these are the two categories of cable in single mode fiber. So 1 decibel per kilometer attenuation is the OS1, and the 0.4 dB kilometer attenuation is OS2. So these are the cables and connectors used for networking, used for creation of networks. So cables are used so far for connecting network. Without cable also it is possible, because we mentioned air as a media for connecting. In air, what is required is the wireless equipment to connect. So commonly used to you must be knowing that I have a data card, this is, or USB modem to connect. This can be plugged to my USB port in laptop or internet, and I can get net connectivity. This will directly talk to the ISP on wireless mode. So we are using that radio frequency signal and in this device modems to get connected to the internet. In local area network, we can establish without wire by using the device called access point. So I have one access point here, which will, this is the antenna used for this. So I have 3 antenna and I have removed. This can be plugged to any of the network point. Then this will start transmitting the signal to the various wireless devices. So if I have a wireless mobile phone where Wi-Fi is enabled, so the technique is called Wi-Fi. So 802.11, that is the Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi is enabled, so that device can access the network through this Wi-Fi device. So we have seen how to get connected directly to ISP or into a local area network by using a wireless device. In addition to this, we can also have high bandwidth connectivity, that is VSAT based, so that you can place a antenna on top of your building which can directly communicate with the satellite and transponder. So satellite based communication and network is also possible, where your signal is being received by your ISP by using the VSAT. So there will be a mother earth station somewhere, like we were using in India. We were using a mother earth station in Bangalore, where a huge antenna is placed, and our institute was having one VSAT antenna. So this VSAT will talk to the Bangalore ISP through satellite, and the network is established. So these are the various devices and technique used for creating network in local as well as in the national level. And I have talked up to switch, layer 2 switch, which is a dedicated switch which can transmit packets from one user to other user without broadcasting. And there are virtualization of also possible over the switch. That switch work at the network layer 3. This is at layer, the other switch I showed, hub work in network layer 1, and switch layer 2 switch work on layer in the network layer 2, and the third layer is the network layer, where the switch work on network layer 3, that is called layer 3. Layer 3 switches are very expensive. If we have such a huge network computing environment, then we can have this layer 3 switch. I think we have placed an order somewhere around 30 to 40 lakhs rupees for a network switch, where this high-end switch that will be connected to the other layer 3 switch. So these are the common technique for connecting. Now I have almost completed all the equipments and devices used in network. Now there is one issue, which how do you connect this cable? So as you can see in my slide, the cable should be very artistically connected and wired, otherwise it will look very clumsy in a building. So that concept is called structured cabling, and in my slide you can see that these cables are used to connect between switch in a form, and I have a photograph of the Google's data center, where how this all network equipment, everything is kept in a single room. Such a center is called data center, where you will see server and network devices, everything will be very artistically designed and placed in a center. And we are also coming up with a data center, and you can go to any data center near to your place and see almost all these devices and the structured cabling there. With this, I stop this module about media, switching technique, and the network devices which are used for creating network. Thank you.